wonderful to be here together, starting our year with such a nice message. It's all about what we do with our time, what the purpose we are doing on this planet. So it's wonderful. So eventually it's going to show up there. So the message is to wish us all Happy New Year under the light of Spiritism. And of course, all the studies we do here, we use the Allan Kardec book, The Codification, especially the Spirit's book and the Gospel. That is our daily read, isn't it? So we have these books available, and I encourage you, if you don't have it, to get one, because you cannot go wrong with the education that the Spiritism brings in these books. So at the Gospel, we have a message from Paul. I love Paul. I read all the letters, the messages, because he's such a light, such an example for us. And he says at the Gospel, "My friends, give thanks to God for having permitted you to enjoy the enlightenment of Spiritism. Not that those who possess this enlightenment are the only ones who will be saved, but because it helps you to understand the teaching of Christ, so making you into a better Christian." So the whole talk we are going to present, it is a wonderful talk, it's a wonderful message because it comes from the Gospel, is to invite us to look, how can we be in 2016 better Christians? That's our goal, isn't it? To find the lessons of Jesus and translate the lessons in our life. So the question, under the light of Spiritism, what that means? Did you contemplate a little bit before coming when you read the invitation? What that means, 2016, to be a happier year under the light of Spiritism. And one viewpoint that we want to bring is the understanding that Spiritism educates us that we are immortal beings. Just that lesson itself can give us a great shift in perspective how we manage time in our life. Having the understanding that we are here in this incarnation as only one step in our evolution. In reality, we are immortal beings. And that things puts in perspective. And also, another viewpoint that we are going to consider is, as immortal beings, we have the divine laws to guide us in this journey. And in the Spirit's book, in the question 621, Allan Kardec asks to the Spirits, where is written the law of God? And the answer is written in our conscience. That's why we have all within. We just learn it. We need to assess and allow that wisdom that God put in our conscience to guide our steps. So when we embrace that viewpoint, we have a better chance to have a happy year. And better chance to understand what we are doing with our time. I love the opening, and I always love the way the opening match with our talk. Becoming aware, what are we doing with our time? How much time we are investing in our spiritual growth? How much time we are dedicated for our immortal being? How much time we invest in our material things? So all that meditation. And Spiritism is a miracle only when it touches our heart. When it touches those virtues that we have in our conscience. Generosity, kindness, forgiveness, love, humbleness, faith, compassion, charity. Because the simplest fact to understand that our doctrine is not enough to give us the experience. It's very important that we understand that Spiritism needs to be incorporated in our personality. Just when touch our hearts, that is going to start deeply manifesting the lessons of Jesus. Because when it touches our heart, there are more chances that it's going to start acting the lessons in our life. And that's why Kardec says the true Spiritist is recognized by their moral improvement. It's very, very important. And when Spiritism is understood and is incorporated in our being, we start to notice difference in our life. For instance, just coming to the Spirit Center every Sunday, reading a book, listening to a talk on YouTube, that does not make us a Spiritist. We can be supportive of the center, donate money, come and clean, cook a lot, but it still does not make us a Spiritist. It makes us a Spiritist when we can truly assimilate the lessons and starting showing all the efforts and possibilities for us to change. That's why Jesus said to us, pray and be vigilant. So we can incorporate that teaching that we get and make a transformation in our life. And Jesus said that all the virtues that we accumulated is going to make us a new man. And that is our goal. And we have to say, when Spiritism touches our heart, that's when the miracle happens, because it translates in the quality of peace we acquire in life. So if by any meaning you're not experiencing peace of right now, it's a wonderful opportunity to double check all these concepts we are bringing and see what we need to do to transform so we can embrace more peace in our life. So Spiritism comes in three phases. First, we enter Spiritism. We found the center. We start reading. Then, the second phase, the Spiritism enter us. We start to have the intellectual understanding. It starts touching our heart. And we call ourselves Spiritists when Spiritism leads us through action and reach others, reach our life. So there are three phases. So it's an invitation for us to contemplate which level are we. We're allowed to enter Spiritism, Spiritism enter in our life, and Spiritism start to translate into our actions. So that is our journey as an immortal being. So just to recapitulate a few lessons, because Lord God put in our conscience the laws, but we keep forgetting. We need to keep reminding ourselves, right? So we are repeating over and over. Many times we come to the center and say, oh no, this topic again. But guess what? We have been hearing for over 2,000 years and we have not assimilated yet. So that's why we need to keep repeating. But the good news, every time we hear again, we hear from a more expanded awareness. And that's the good news. So just to understand a little bit our journey as immortal beings. We are all spirits created simple and ignorant. What that means, we are created without any knowledge. We evolve intellectually and morally, passing from a lower order to a higher order until they attain perfection, when they will enjoy unalterable bliss. Spirits preserve their individuality before, during, and after each incarnation. Spirits reincarnate as many times as it is necessary for their spiritual achievement. A spirit's successive corporeal existence are always progressive and never retrograde, but the rapidity of our progress depends on the effort we make to arrive at perfection. So, with the Spiritism, we learn that we need two wings to progress, our moral wing and our intellectual wing. One incarnation, sometimes we focus on develop our intellectual advancement. Some incarnations, we develop our moral advancement. Like us here today, feels like, it looks like we are prepared to have the two wings to help us, because that's the ultimate prize. Because we are studying Spiritism in intellectual level and learning as a Spiritist, how to put that intellectual learning for our moral advancement. So we are ahead of the game. Sounds like this is our best incarnation, because it's a beautiful day out there, isn't it? But what are we doing with our time? We invest in our immortality, in our beings. So that's a wonderful reference for us. So cheer us up that we are in a good spot. That's the good news. And have this understanding about this step is that every incarnation is just one step, tiny step in our immortal life. We want to make the best of it. Like the opening, use our time to grow, because we know as individual, when we finish this incarnation, we are going to go and have another one, and we have another incarnation until we progress to perfection. And we know that's going to take a little while, because from the difficulties we experience in life, it looks like we are in the beginning of our journey, right? Because who can tell me how many conflicts we have every day? How much trouble we have to face to overcome moments of peace. Am I right? All right, I'm not alone. Thank you. Because we get ourselves in trouble quite easy, don't we? So that means we have a lot to learn, but we are doing our best. We are putting all the efforts to arrive there. And have all those understanding. How many opportunities our Father gives us. That's profound, isn't it? And that invites us to have a profound connection with our Father. Just to have an understanding that we can have as many incarnations as possible to find that peaceful stage, that the perfecting stage, that we can be spiritually speaking. We have many incarnations. So our Father is so merciful that he gives us all the opportunity for us. And that, knowing that, having the respect for the moment we are, that gives us opportunity to really create this connection with our Father. It's a profound opportunity for us to connect with our Father, just to embrace the mercifulness that he's offering us. It's just wonderful. And of course, that gives us a lot of respect for the environment we have here, knowing the good spirits are here to help us. They are our best buddies, and they are here 100% to help us. And knowing that we have all this spiritual help, knowing the connection we have with our Father, the invitation for us is to use every time, like Terry said, pointing in time, to make a deliberately choice, to make an action that is more aligned with the divine laws, a chance for us to be a better Christian. And that's what it means, to be more aligned with our purpose, what we came here for. An invitation. If you live with anything here, the invitation is for us to make all the efforts we can to arrive at the perfection as quick as we can, knowing that every minute, every second, every action counts. So Spiritism teaches us that our moments of happiness or moment of pain or tragedy are consequences of our attitudes and choices that we made in our journey as immortal beings. The philosophy of happiness, under the light of Spiritism, consists of a correct attitude in relation of life, in relation of ourselves and our neighbor, working toward the goal of evolution and inner peace. Love your neighbor as you love yourself is the fundamental stone of our happiness, and Jesus showed us our supreme effort to work for the goodness in all the directions. So that's an invitation. When we understand that every moment we have, happiness or pain, are consequence of our choices, whether we like it or not. When it's a good moment, yeah, we made it, right? But when we experiment something that is painful and go extremely wrong, it's hard to believe was our choice, isn't it? Boy, who likes to blame others first? We go there, right? Even for a second, because that's what we have been doing. Oh my God, this government is going to kill us, right? Oh, this, I cannot do that. My husband, my mother, my father, right? My boss, oh my God, my boss can really hurt me, right? We go there, but it's an invitation to remind us that whatever we experience is a result of our choices. When you really embrace that, it's hard for a moment, but also it's very liberating because it's also in our hands to change that, right? So many times we have a lot of sadness in our life because some events, some people hold us hostage because we feel we are stuck, we are trapped in someone else's hand. And that is very educational for us to create the freedom and the change that's going to make 2016 a complete whole year. The philosophy of happiness under the light of Spiritism consists in a correct attitude in relation of life, in relation to ourselves, our neighbor, working towards the goal of evolution and inner peace. Love your neighbor as you love yourself is fundamental stone of happiness. And Jesus shows us our supreme effort to work for the goodness in all directions. We need to keep reading that because that's the invitation. So let's make it 2016 a big step in our evolutionary path. So when you look at that, B is a great step ahead in our life. Meditate a little bit at this figure. Which area you think you needed to work on? Look at this picture and notice what you need to overcome to achieve your resolution. Everybody made a resolution for 2016 here? Or kind of put some attention on what you need to achieve this year? So contemplate what is in your way to get what you want. What you did not transcend in 2015 that you needed to transcend to achieve your goal in 2016. Notice what are you afraid of? What is taking your sleep away? What are you doing that is distracting you to achieve your goal? Because every time we make a new goal, I don't know, who has goal here last year resolution you dropped by February? You even forgot about it. Right? Oh, it's so hard. Okay? So meditate a little bit. What is distracting you? You know? And most importantly, what do you want more in your life in 2016? Because for us to know where you're going, you needed to know where you are, right? I love to share a viewpoint here. Many times people want to go to a place, but they are unaware where they are. So how can you take the right bus if you don't know where you are? So that is the first step for our change in our life. So the invitation for us today, let's put the light of Spiritism and the use of our free will, the efforts we're making, our choice and our actions. So when you contemplate, it's time to let it go a few things that is no longer serve us. The resolution, many times when we do our resolutions, we set some expectation. But we don't do a reality check in our expectation. That's why we drop many resolutions, because we didn't do the reality checking. Many times we want a new thing, but we don't have a new lens to look life, to create differently. We're still looking with the old lens. And many times we don't change what we need to change in order to create the new step. We get stuck, right? Many times we don't want to do the work. We have the wishing thinking, oh, I want that. But it's not really embrace and take a responsibility of what is in the way. You know, because many times when we are creating a new resolution, creating a new project, creating a new anything, whatever it is, when we set the intention, a layer that what is in the way showed up. Whether we are aware or not, whether if you see or not, we feel it, the impact. Who understand what I'm talking about? Now, if you decide something, whatever is in the way is going to show up. Because if I don't have anything, any obstacles in the way, it manifests like this. Because we have the free will and we have the power of creation. We are divine beings, right? So when we want something to create something and does not manifest in action, it's because there is something in a way. And the invitation that Jesus make for us with the gospel, with the lessons, Jesus invites us to stop the behaviors that does not honor our divinity. Jesus invites us to stop the behaviors that does not give us dignity. Jesus invites us to stop the behaviors that is not noble, does not bring us noble actions. The most important lesson that Jesus gave us, it was dignity. He invited us, he reminded us that we are divine beings. And he taught us how to act accordingly. We are just a slow learner. We'll get there. But more and more, when we embrace those viewpoints, wow, stop the behaviors that is not honoring your dignity. Powerful, isn't it? The invitation. It is powerful to me. So the light of Spiritism gives us the courage to look within. Because in the past, we didn't have the courage to achieve what we desired. So the resolutions we drop, the resolutions that we did not achieve, is because we didn't have the courage to fulfill what we need to fulfill. Because many times we don't look at because we're scared. We don't have the tools to integrate. And that's the good news about the Spiritism. We have plenty of tools that educate us how to take the next step, how to find what keeps us from loving one another, what is keeping us incarcerated in our selfishness. The Spiritism educates us how to break those layers of pride that keep us closed down when we are suffering. Many of us don't even know how to ask help. Our pride keeps us completely separate from one another. And Spiritism educates us to love one another, right? That's the most important thing. The main reason we are in this incarnate is to love one another as we love ourselves. The problem is we don't know how to love ourselves all that well. Of course, when you think in an intellectual love, of course I love myself. But the question that I'm going to make is going to give you some perspective to double check, because love ourselves is no picnic. It requires a lot of work. So the best way for you to measure how much are you loving yourself, to give an idea how much you prepare to love another person, is to ask yourself, what do I tell myself when I make a big mistake? What do I tell myself when I fail? How do I treat myself when I say something really dumb? How do I pick myself up when I crash? So meditate in your life. It gives you a lot of perspective with the awareness how to embrace and evolve rather than feeling bad about it. You know, I grew up, I created a mechanism of defense of perfectionism. So when I make a mistake, I had a little, that's what I did. It took a long time to work towards these layers. And I think I've been doing that for many incarnations, because when I make a mistake, I still feel a little invitation, but I say, sit quiet there, perfectionist, don't serve me now. You know, embrace. So many times we need to learn. Many people get more and more sad, more and more depressed, because they don't know how to shake it up when they fell. Many times when we fell on the floor, give us a lot of perspective, because you look around and you see things that you couldn't see when you're standing up. And maybe that's the lesson you need to see. So when we are embracing to love ourselves, we can more embrace the lessons. Because there is only one person that can be there for you. Actually two. Jesus and yourself first. That's our job. Learning this connection with Jesus, with God, with your guardian angel, whatever serves you, how you want to frame. But learning to open that connection, having the certainty how much you are loved by, that God is there for you all the time, that relaxes us and helps us to love us a little more. And when we do that, others can love us, great, but it's not our main source of empowerment. And many times we put our main source of empowerment in someone else's hand, and guess what? They go away. Oh, that's difficult. We all experience that, right? Someone leave and you feel powerless because we had a lot of empowerment in their hands. So when we learn to place the teaching of Jesus, learning that open this connection of support and love, we empower ourselves to love ourselves more. And slowly, slowly, we feel that we can love the other person more, because we start dissolving what's blocking us from love ourselves and dissolve what blocks us to love one another. And I encourage, I don't know, many of you know already, but in the question of Spiritist Book 919, St. Augustine gives us a wonderful, wonderful lesson there about getting to know ourselves. And he encouraged, do as I did in my lifetime. Every night, do a little meditation and ask yourself, have I done the best I could today? Did I hurt anybody? Did I feel hurt? Could I have done anything better today? Just a little meditation gives you information. Information for what to do next morning rather than being hard on yourself. Just collecting. I love collecting information. When you collect information, you are ahead of the game. Just by doing a little inventory every night, just double check, could I have done things any better? Could I have used my time more productively? Could I have loved a little better today? Did I miss opportunity to have a kind eyes? Did I lose opportunity to have a generosity act? Those are information that give us perspective. And from that space, when we do that, we are welcoming ourselves in the most honorable space in our heart. When we embrace the lessons of Jesus, when he invites us to stop the behaviors that's keeping us from dignity, we start welcoming us as the most honorable guest in our heart. Because we matter. We are immortal beings. We are child of God. And we cannot ever forget that. And that's the main light of that we can put in Spiritism, because Spiritism, study Spiritism, create a crystal clear of this lesson. We are immortal beings. We are child of God. We matter. And we should be the most honorable guests in our heart. From that space, we start loving one another a little more. And that's why Jesus said to us, pray, be vigilant. If Jesus was here today, he would say, pray, be mindful. Be mindful what you're feeling. Be mindful of your intentions. Be mindful of your choices. More mindful we are, more chance we have to be vigilant with our thoughts. Spiritism educates us that our thoughts are very powerful. When we create a thought, it creates an energy that cannot be destroyed, needs to be transformed, needs to be transcended. So the more mindful we are about our intentions, what are we feeling? We are more mindful of our thoughts. We have more chance to pause, to breathe in, and use our awareness to act That's the invitation. When Jesus said, stop the behaviors that does not honor your integrity, your dignity. He requires us to do this. When you have a moment that you have difficulties, you stop. Take a deep breath, 3 times if it's necessary. Observe what is going on. Proceed with awareness and kindness. So when we do that step, we have more chance, instead of reacting and not doing the best we can, there is more chance that we are going to act with integrity. And the bottom line, that helps us to be better human beings, better Christians. And those are the fundamental teachings that we have, because many times we forget that we are here in a learning process. Many times we go through life just 24/7. We forget that everything that happened to us, there is a reason. Nothing happens by coincidence. Everything that happens somehow is here to teach us. So when we embrace as a learning process rather than being hard on ourselves, things get easier. We don't get too much stuck in life. So when we embrace that we have a powerful mentor that is Jesus, with the lessons that guide us, and we approach life as immortal beings, having confidence in the divine laws that protect us. That's the divine justice that protect us. So take us from a paradigm, I say in Portuguese, paradigm of victimhood or blaming. Many times we live in this paradigm, and it's hard if you live like a victim, and it's very hard because everything that happens we feel sorry for ourselves because our power is out there. When we take a new paradigm, knowing that we are immortal beings, whatever we're experiencing is result of my actions. Maybe it's not from this incarnation, maybe it's from past incarnation, I don't know. But it doesn't matter. It's our responsibility to transform. When we understand the law of action and reaction, what goes around comes around. The power of our thoughts, the use of our free will, we have more chance to create 2016 a better life. And when we have all that, we have a little more faith. We started creating a more faith heart because we feel protected by the divine laws. We feel protected that God is divine and just and embrace everyone as brothers and sisters. So the invitation is for us to pray, to be vigilant. That's the only way we make our light shine in 2016. To pray, to be mindful of what we're feeling, what we are choosing, how we are using our time, and how we are using our free will. Whatever comes in the way, having the trust and the faith, that is at one step of learning for us. Learn, embrace, give it the resignation in your heart. Sometimes we experience trials that is very hard. All of us here, I guarantee, has suffered to cry yourself to sleep. Am I right? All of us in this planet endure very difficult trials because this level of awareness, we are still learning how to create a balanced life. That's why we need to put all the efforts we can to make our light shine in 2016. And just the fact to be present, be mindful, help us to be really present with everyone. And just by being present with someone is a gift we have to offer. It's a charity. Many times people say, I don't know how to be charitable. But just by being present and smiling. You know, when you have joy, when you have alignment between yourself and our Father, that expands to our perispirit, because we have this body, and you have a semi-material body called perispirit, and we have our spirit. When we experience joy, our perispirit expands, and touch someone else's perispirit. That's why joy is so contagious. That's why love is so contagious. So the invitation is for us to take care of this heart, so we can expand our joy, our love, our presence to everyone, as many people as we can encounter this year. And that's going to be the transformation of drop of love that we spread everyone around. Because what goes around comes around. The more we give, the more we're going to get. So I wish all of us a happy 2016.